I got a feeling that you got me covered too. I got you covered. I got you covered.
Hi, everybody. How is everybody doing today? Hi, Echo. Hi, Sandy. Welcome in today. I hope everybody is doing well. Just a little notice, we have people come in before we start the discussion. I will be drawing the winner for the Fall Fest 24. It will be a video. And so I will be getting off here and putting that video together of the person that won. As you can see on our community tab, we have started putting up the channels that have drawn so people can easily go to that. Christina won one of them, which she said, Mom, thanks for showing me this because I was able to enter. So there's going to be a lot of cool prizes everybody's going to win. And then, of course, the grand prize winner as well. So that'll be awesome. So if you haven't, go check it out. If you entered, go check it out and make sure that you look at all the videos. Some of them have not drawn yet. Some of them have. So go ahead and take a look, and that's what I named it. And take a look and just go through them and make sure that you the ones that if you've entered, just make sure you check them and make sure, because there's going to be a time limit to when you're going to have them come back. Now in the video, when I draw, I'm going to draw first place, semifinalist, and a backup one, just in case the other one does not reach out to us within the time period, which is 72 hours. So they will have from today, when the video released, up until 72 hours to contact us. And if not, it'll be the next person. So that'll be Sunday. So I will do the video. I'll do first person. They don't reach out, then there'll be a second person. Hopefully I won't have to draw for a third person, but I will put the video together today, and we will put it up. And we just thank everybody who came over from Fall Fest and joined us. Excuse me a minute. And found our channel and entered. We just thank you so much, and we hope that you'll continue to come back as we just talk about wonderful things. I had a wonderful discussion with Tina at the Life in the Piedmont. She was a delightful person. I'm so glad that I got a chance to finally meet her, and I got to do a live with her. Check that out. That's great. And of course, we have the hashtag Cookie Connection 24. So if you haven't had a chance to send us your cookie recipe, we are accepting them now. And further details are in the Let's Talk Cookies video in that, so that you can go check that out too as well, because we're accepting cookie recipes. And I'm starting to get some really few of them interesting recipes, as well as some pictures and just some stories behind these cookies. And that's really I think makes the connections even sweeter. And we do have a Facebook group too as well, for anybody that is participating that would like to, and this all goes back to connection. If anybody would like to join that Facebook group so that they can be a part of furthering those connections of everybody that's contributed towards the cookie recipe, then you can go ahead and join the Facebook group. Questions will be asked as, what is your YouTube handle? And then, of course, what is your cookie recipe that you contributed? And when we match those up, we'll put you in there. And then those beautiful connections will be started to be made. So if you're here, hi, Matthew, how are you? If you're here, and you're lurking in, come and say hi. We don't bite, I promise you. But we're going to have a discussion today. And we do try to put up topics That's really how this kind of all started, was connection. But we talk about some things that, um, oh, I'm glad you caught alive too. That sometimes can be a little, some things can be, harder to talk about than others. But I think that this is a really good one. And I thought about this today, and it was actually a discussion I had with my daughter. She was going through something, and I won't go into details about that, but she's over, she's gotten over it. But I said to her, it was something somebody said to her, and I said, we've talked about those. And for the people that don't know, I have a saying. I think I'm going to have snow in 2025. That'll be awesome. Um, I, for those that don't know, when one of the things that I did when I last, or was it this last year, I started going to therapy and working through some things I didn't think I was going to need to work through, but I did. And my husband and I go together and we support each other in our therapy sessions. And so, one of the things that my therapist said to me one time when I was going through something, and I'm going to give you all permission to do this. You need to give yourself permission to do this. And I've done it before. And we've talked about this, is when you are dealing with something that is emotional and you cannot handle it, or you're tired, or you're exhausted, or you're, you just don't feel like you can handle it unless you're, dealing in front of a therapist or a friend or something. You have the permission to pick a car in your head. And my daughter was going to be. I told her this one time. I said, she said, "Mom, it's going to be horse and buggy." I said, "Well, then put a trunk on the back of it." you know, have a whole fleet of cars, right? Have a high Sandy. Have a whole fleet of cars, right? Have this car for that person in this situation. That's have a whole fleet. Do whatever car you want in your head, right? And when you're dealing with an emotional situation and you've had enough, give yourself permission to open the trunk and put those things in the trunk. Take the key, lock it up, and don't open it until you are ready to handle it. That's a great thing, and that has really helped me this year in certain circumstances and situations where I'm like, "You know what? That car is this situation, or it's dealing with this person, and I cannot handle it, and I'm done with it. I'm exhausted. I have to lock it away. I have to put it in the trunk, and I have to put the keys away." And sometimes I've gone back thinking, "Okay, I can handle this." And I've gone back. I carry on. I've gone back. I've opened up the trunk, right? And I've gone, "Nope, ain't happening today," and I lock it right back up again. But I think sometimes, and this is what I said to my daughter a couple weeks ago, was something I said, "You know what?" I said, "You've heard me talk about the trunk." She goes, "Yes, Mom, I've heard you talk about the trunk." I said, "Well, this certain circumstance and situation doesn't involve the trunk." I said, "It involves the trash." And so we need to decide in our lives what situations and circumstances are, if they're going in the trunk till we can deal with them, if we are just too much emotional stuff to handle, or is it going to go in the trash? And here's one thing I want you to think about with the trash. Hi, Jason P. Is this: sometimes we put things in the trash and we make it easy for us to go back and pick it back up. That's why I picked a trash can that was overloaded, right? Now this just has paper in it, but you start putting your food and all that kind of stuff in there and you leave it in there, it starts stinking, right? So if we allow it easy to go into the trash and we leave it there, what's going to happen to it? It's easy to go back. It's taken me some time to get to a place and hit the wrong button. Well, what my I cannot. Yep. How about the paper shredder? I love it. Can anybody hear me as my computer decides it wants to do whatever it wants to do? Can someone give me a 5x5? Oh, there we go. There we go. Now we're back. I think. um, one of these days with this computer, one of these days, you could do the the trash. Okay, good. The trash, the shredder, right? You can do the shredder. You can put it in the shredder. Point of it is that we need to decide. Hey, we got it back. Hey, we got me back. Guys, one of these days, it's going to cost me. I know I'm frozen. Hopefully now it works. We figured out it's probably going to be about a, a good chunk of money to put a new computer in. So we're we're um we're putting a little bit away every little time to just make that happen. And my son-in-law can build me a computer, and I can take this one and say, "Hi, Ohio Travels. How are you?" I can say goodbye to this one. I don't care whether you put it in the paper shredder. I don't care whether you put it in the trash. But I said to her, that specific conversation, that specific situation that happened, you have an ability to take it and say goodbye, right? As long as you don't keep it piled up and keep it where you can access it, right? Hi, Shorts, how are you? Uh, keep it piled up. When we decide, like this situation before the computer started acting funny, with this family member that I will not go into details with for a long time. One day I'll tell you all the story, but not at this present time, right? I have decided that the relationship that we had before this person chose to do what they did will never, ever, ever go back to the way it was. Even if they waltz back in my life, I've chosen to forgive them. I love them. I will forgive them. But it will never ever be anywhere near the same it was before they did what they did. I will never be able to totally trust them. I'm going to walk on little eggshells because I'm going to be afraid whatever comes out of here, I'm going to go, "Oh, will they do this all over again?" So I've had to say, "Okay, I've put this in the trunk. I've pulled it back out, put it back in the trunk, pulled it back out again," right? Emotionally. And now I've decided, you know what? That relationship, I've taken it and I sent that person some yarn. I sent them a letter. I kissed the package and I said goodbye and I love you. I've taken that old relationship with all the wonderful memories. I've kept the good stuff and I've taken the rest and I've put it in a nice trash bag and I've thrown it in the trash, right? But I've taken it to the hi baby bear. Right? I've taken it to the trash outside and called the trash man. And I said, it's done. What was can never happen again. So I have to be able to take the good, the things that were good and healthy about that relationship, the sweet memories, I need to take them and treasure them. And what wasn't sweet and what wasn't hurtful went in a trash bag, and I took it out to the trash and I called the trash man. I didn't allow it to pile up. And I said to my daughter the day when this whole thing happened, I said the whole situation she was going through and what the person said. I said that doesn't belong in the trunk. It belongs in the trash. See, sometimes we allow headspace to be eaten up by what people say or what we say to ourselves, right? Let it go. Oh, I know my daughter hates that song. She hates that movie Frozen. But it's true. It's let it go. Where do we going to say, or what space are we going to hold in our head? And I think this is a good question. Are you going to give yourself permission to put it in the trash, but also give or the trunk when until you can deal with it? And then you have to give yourself permission to put it in the trash. And don't allow yourself, let's just think about how many things we think, right? That we go, oh, We can't throw that out. We're going to use that somewhere about 10 years down the road. And so we hold on to it, don't we? Or we throw it away and then we think, oh no, we can't throw this away. You have to be able to throw it away. It's taking up room up in here. It's taking up space up in here. So I love the trunk idea. Now, um, Relatable Reese talks about the snake. That's really kind of helped me lately about the fact that we tend to allow the snake to bite us. You know, want to go up and pet the snake and it bites us. And we allow the snake to even, you know, poison us, right? And you know what? With this whole situation with this family member that I'm going through, I've just sat here going, I don't understand this. I can't begin to understand it. Why? Because I could never do it. It's not something that I could do. I could never do it. So why sit here spinning my head trying to figure out why the situation doesn't make any sense? When the reason it doesn't make any sense is because I couldn't do it. So what are you going to choose to do? I've held a car in my fleet in my head for this whole situation. It's time to take the car away, and it's time to take the trash and throw it out. Done. And I just really think, oh, what are we talking? Yep, talking about metaphor about how, how we're supposed to do that. People, when we get overrun with stuff, when we get tired, when we're exhausted emotionally, give yourself permission to have a trunk, have a fleet of cars, okay? And say, nope, I can't deal with this right now. This was very helpful when we were first starting therapy because there was a lot of stuff coming out. My therapist said, can we put this situation and these memories and everything in the trunk? And when you come back, you can talk to me about them again. And that really helped me a lot because I've had to do that ever since, especially as a fibromyalgia patient. Sometimes stress and the situations and emotional things will get the best of me and will make me hurt 10 times worse afterwards. I have to be able to say, no, they're going in a trunk till I can get in front of a therapist. I can get in front of a friend. That's why finding some way of journaling is so important. You don't have to journal any which way that is other than the way that you need to journal. Is it by sending yourself opening an account, an email account, and sending yourself emails? Is it doing it through Messenger? Is it doing it through writing in a book? Is it being able to do, voice text? Whatever it is that you need to do, doing this is part of our journal, right? For myself, it's part of my journal too as well. But it's getting it out here. But then when we decide before we put it in the trunk, is whatever this is going to belong in here or does it belong in the trash? Now, sometimes we need to put things in here because we can't decide whether or not they're best in the trash yet. We need to wait and say, you know what? I can't deal with this yet. It may eventually go into the trash, but I can't handle that right now. It's got to go in here. And then eventually you've got to be in a position of being willing to open that trunk and decide, is this staying in the trunk or is this going in the trash? And then when it goes in the trash, you know what you do? You put it in the bag, you take it outside, and you call the garbage man in your head and you say, guess what? Can you come pick that up? Don't allow it to sit there for a long period of time. You're going to go back and pick it up again. Those tapes are going to run back through. You got to throw it out. You got to get out of your space. When I got home, I'm going to throw away some unneeded stuff. I always needed to deal with dumb situations that I have in my trunk for a while. Absolutely. And this comes back to, I think it goes with both mental and possession wise. I have a habit of thinking, oh, my husband does. Oh, Lord, I love him. But he'll go, oh, I can use that. When? You have 2 chainsaws. When are you going to use 2 of them, and it's hard. It's hard to decide. A big part of self-care is allowing toxic people and relationships to leave your life. It's not only okay, it's necessary. Absolutely echo. It is, but the whole situation that happened was totally out of our control. And what happened in the proceeding up to it, it boggles my mind. I've spent time and space and energy sitting there going, how could that person do that? And thinking, there's no way you're going to begin to understand. And I don't like snakes. I thought of him just, my son-in-law wants a snake. Oh, goodness. And I'm like, no. I don't want snakes. And you know what? So that doesn't necessarily, I love the analogy of it. But for me, I have to say, is that worth going into the trunk, or is it worth going into the trash? And at one point, I have to sit there in my head, sitting there going, guess what? The reason why I'm never going to understand it is because I would never do it. I don't care what goes on, right? I don't care what goes on. I'm not going to do it. But when we allow things to take space up in here, then we're in trouble. For years I was bullied. One of my names was cow. And that word, up until probably 6 or 8 months ago, was a really hard word. It was even just hard thinking about it. Now I find cows cute. And I'm actually going to do a relaxing stream because Relatable Reese was talking about, what was it? Talking about, what was it? She was talking about cows being relaxing. And I thought, you know what? They are kind of relaxing. You know what I mean? They are kind of relaxing. I have to admit, after, seeing, but looking at them and hearing them move back and forth. And I'm like, yeah, they are kind of relaxing. You know what I mean? But I look at it differently. I don't have to have room sticking in my head. It doesn't have to have the same meaning. And sometimes being able to throw something in the trash, right? When we're willing to say, you know what? We're going to take this and we're going to throw it in the trash. We're not putting it up here, and we're going to let it go. Right? We're going to just say, we're going to let it go. We've got to let it go. We've got to say, okay, what part of it needs to go away? It took her to sit there and say, well, Mary, are you a cow? No. You're a beautiful, wonderful woman. I don't see a cow sitting in my office. And she was right. So what do I need to do? I've got to be able to disconnect. Emphasize trunk. I love it. But here's the thing, Jason. I have a whole fleet of cars in my head. I do. I have a situation for this. I have a situation for this. I have a situation for this. I have a whole fleet of cars in my head. Right? It's not just one. I have a whole fleet. Well, this person, they're getting this car. And this person, they're getting this car. And this person, they're getting this car. I have a whole fleet. Because when I open that trunk, I don't want 3,000 things coming out of it. Now, here's the other important factor of it. We need to put things in the trunk, into that specific trunk in that specific car. And then we don't need to let it rot. We need to eventually deal with it, whether it's dealing with it through a friend or dealing with it through counseling. We need to deal with it. Keeping it in the trunk permanently is not an option. Eventually, you're going to have to open that trunk and you're going to have to deal with it. I got to the point probably about 2 months ago where I said it's time to deal with this. I wanted to write that letter to that relative. I wanted to send out that package. And I had put it in the trunk and pulled it out a little bit and put it back in the trunk, pulled it back out again. And I finally said no. Before Patty came, it was in the mail. And I was hoping, I can honestly say hoping that that would have touched that person's heart and just maybe they would have come back. They haven't. I can't do anything else. When Christmas rolls around, I thought, I'm probably going to send a Christmas card. Just so they know that I care. But if they think they're coming back and we're going to have this hunky-dory relationship again like it was before, no, that'll never happen because I can never trust you again. But give yourself permission, especially as a chronic pain patient or a fibromyalgia patient, give yourself permission to put things in a trunk when things get too stressful. All right. Well, thank you for stopping and stitching it up. You know what I mean? Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yes, but it will be manageable when you're ready to tackle it. Absolutely. But my point of it is, oh, well, please tell Crafty, can we put some ones in the chat for and ones in the chat for her mom. I'm so sorry. She gets better really, really soon. I appreciate you having me in the background. Just a little side note, we're about 106 hours away from 4,000. So if anybody wants to watch the wonderful playlist, I would be gratefully appreciated. But anyway, I just want people to realize when you are dealing with a chronic pain or fibromyalgia, you tend to, when things are stressful, you tend to hurt more. It is very common for you to hurt more. When hi no face, how are you? When you're dealing with something stressful, it is almost indicative of you hurting. Not maybe the same day, but sometimes, afterwards, you will hurt more, right? And so you need to realize that if you don't say to yourself, I can't deal with this anymore today. I'm done dealing with it today. I've cried enough about it today. I've had anxiety enough about it today. Whatever it is, right? When you sit there and say, I've had it, you got to be able to put it in that trunk. And you may have to put it in the trunk before it goes to the trash. But I encourage you to eventually say, whatever the circumstance is, if it is resolvable, to resolve it and deal with it. And eventually, if you can't and it's not worth your time of day, put it in the trash. And if somebody comes up to you and says something to you that is just a bunch of googly gop, right? Maybe they think you're too sensitive, or they don't like this about you, or they don't like that about you. I'd encourage you to say, you know what? How much time have they spent with me? And if sometimes, even sometimes people that have spent a lot of time don't really know you. How much time have they spent with me? Really good quality time. Y'all, it takes 200 hours to build a relationship with somebody. We've spent 200 hours in sillier things than that, right? Once I don't trust, I find it almost impossible to have any kind of relationship. I agree. Um, I do believe, coming from a Christian perspective, that it is important that I want to show Christ. I want to show Christ to that individual. And so if they came back, I would still have the relationship, but it'd be very different. It's never going back to what it was before. It can't, because I can't go there again. And I've decided that for my own mental well being. I doubt that the relationship will ever be brought back. And that to me is sad. There's nothing I can do about it. I didn't do anything. They made their decision and they have to live with it. I know I couldn't. I know dang gone it I couldn't. I am not one of those people that can go to bed mad and stay mad for very long. It just doesn't happen with me. But if somebody has not taken the time with you and they come up and they're starting to spout off something about yourself, how often do we take that for well, they must know what they're talking about, right? Why don't you go to the people that have spent time with you? I had a situation probably a couple years ago, and I went to a lady that I knew for years, and she wasn't even anywhere near it. And I started talking to her, and she goes, "That doesn't sound like you at all. I know you better than that." And I was like, I needed to hear that. Sometimes we allow people that don't spend enough time to get to know us, and we take what they say about us and we put a rubber stamp on it and say, well, they got to know what they're talking about. No, they don't. And so if they're saying things that that's not true about yourself, we've heard garbage in, garbage out, right? Take it and throw it in the trash. Don't even put it in the trunk. Don't have to process through here. You know yourself. Now, if they're coming to you and they know you, they've spent time with you, you've had a healthy relationship, and they're coming to you with a soft spirit, right? And a healthy spirit. And they're coming to you, talking to you about something you're doing in a gentle, loving manner. That's different. But if they're coming to you off the cuff saying something about you that you just know dang gone it is not true about yourself, you've got to just say, I'm not even going to get a car in my head with them. I'm going right into the trash. My mother was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and she had that mother thing where something was off. I went to the doctor, and it was breast cancer. I says later, she's doing great today at 74. Well, that is awesome. So glad that it was caught early. I'm so glad that it was caught. I don't have a history of, well, we don't in our family necessarily cancer. My aunt has liver and lung cancer, but I think it's a lot to do with the amount of cigarettes and smoking she did throughout her life. But I've had not only is it the fibromyalgia, but the back problems. But that's good to know. We need to, especially as women, make sure that we're going, especially because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We need to make sure that we're checked. Absolutely, that's a good thing to. It's a good thing to deal. Make sure that we're aware of that. But it's like what my husband's going through with his with the Klinefelters. A lot of stuff that's going on with him health-wise now is happening because he wasn't diagnosed properly as a Klinefelter's patient. back when he was a small child. And so a lot of the things that he's experiencing, a lot of the pain that he's going through, a lot of what's happening with his knee that's going on has to do with the fact that he is um, dealing with dealing with the Klinefelters and the XXY syndrome. So it is all connected. But I just know as a fibromyalgia patient, if the stress situation is too high or I get too emotional about something, it can really, really affect me the next day. And sometimes for a couple of days. I mean, after my aunt left, we were very busy while she was here. And then she was very busy while we were here. But then I took me about a month to recover. It's like, it should not take me this long to recover. I shouldn't be so tired. And somebody pointed out to me, not only, Mary, are you tired from the physical that you did, but it is all the emotional leading up to her. The fact that we got the diagnosis that this had now moved from where it was to terminal, right? And then now we're at that stage, and she was coming up here, and it was the last hug, and it was preparing for all of it. And then she left, and all this stuff going on. Not only was it physically, but I was emotionally exhausted. And so, I guys, I love the trunk. I love having a fleet of cars. Well, you're going there and you're going there and you're going there and you're going there. And I don't have a lot of cars with stuff in them at this time at this point in time in my life. But there's some times where I say, oops, bring in a car. And I put it in my head and I put it in the trunk. So I'm not dealing with that. One thing that we have to start working through with counseling is going through my first marriage and going through all of that. And I don't think I've opened that trunk yet, surprisingly enough. I mean, it happened, 25 years ago, 26, 27 years ago. And I've opened it, dealt with little things, closed it. Opened it, dealt with little things, and closed it. I think I've had the trunk longer than I realized it was in existence because I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. And my counselor said, well, we're going to need to deal with it. And um, we were sitting, when Christina's birthday happened, we were sitting around the table and they were playing a game. And I went through a house fire back then before I was pregnant with Christina. And that was pretty horrible. I wasn't there when it happened, but I was there for the aftermath of it. And I remember that I can still even smell the smell of what everything smelled like. And it was winter and the snow was falling and all the stuff that happened and just going there, realizing you lost almost everything. And they were sitting around the table, right? And there was this game, I forgot what it was, something with fire or something. I don't know the name of the game. And Christina said, singing the song, burn the house down. And I'm standing there in the kitchen helping my mom fix something for dinner. And within seconds, that image just popped right in my head. And then a couple of minutes, Christina said, yeah, burn the house down. And I did again. I said, guys, you can't say that again. I can't deal with that again. And so I opened the trunk and I put it back in there real quick. But my counselor said, we're going to have to deal with that. And my husband was playing a song on the thing that I had heard before. I had played it, but at that specific time, as it was coming up, flashback happened. And so she said, well, we're going to have to pull this out of the trunk. Hi, Lydia. How are you, hon? Hugs right now. I know you're going through it. We're praying for you. Right? And she said, you're going to have to deal with this. She said, if you're starting to have some flashbacks, we got to deal with this. This trunk is ready to be dealt with and discard stuff and throw away stuff and get it cleaned out and get it emptied. And I'm like, you're right. I need to. Don't want to. It's really a lot of junky stuff The most wonderful thing that came out of that whole thing was Christina. The rest of it, there's a little tiny pile over here of good, but then there's a lot of really ugly. And I got to deal with it. And I will. I'm going to really encourage you in your lives, guys. When you are going through it and you're tired and you need a break emotionally, start working them trunks. Start opening the trunk, putting stuff in and closing it up. And if you can't resist going back in that trunk, give the keys to somebody else. Put them someplace. Lock up the keys. I mean, just you've got to do it for your own mental well-being. But then when something is, you know what? When you're done and you've resolved it to the best of your ability, there's some things that need to go in the trash mentally. And then you don't put them in the trash in the kitchen or in an overflowing trash bin. Put them in a trash bag, take them outside and call the trash man and say, "Come pick it up." And it's done. This is all going on in your head. I'm not talking about you literally calling the trash company and say, "Come pick up the trash bag." I'm just talking, allow yourself in your mental health and mental well-being to say, "That's going in the trash. Trash man, come pick it up," and it's gone. It's done. I cannot get it back again. It's done. I've got to close that chapter. I've got to let that go. As hard as it is, it's taken me, it'll be almost 10 months. Hi, Shauna. Almost 10 months. Oh, I'm so sorry you're dealing with the migraine. I hope it gets better really, really soon. If you go to my wish list, if it's working, and it should. If you go to my wish list in our page, you will see a migraine cap thing. Oh, that thing's wonderful. That does help my migraines. It doesn't help to totally make them better, but if I can get it on beforehand, it does help to negate some of it. And I have one in the head and the back. Sometimes if I get too hot at night, I'll go in the freezer and I'll put the neck thing on my back and my neck, and it'll help cool it. I do both, but you put it in the refrigerator and you put it on your head, and it does help. It doesn't make it go better, but it does help to reduce it. We call it the Falcon. It's not Falcon, but if you go there, it should be there. And if you can't find it, reach out to me and I will send you the link for it is, for it. Email me and I'll send you the link for it. But we've got to, it's taken me about 10 months to get in a position where I'm going, okay. I was continuously hoping that we could, if that person did come back in, we could go back and have this relationship again. And I thought about it recently going, no, that's not going to happen. It's done. I didn't do it. Person chose to do it. I want to show them forgiveness. I want to show them love. But we're not going back to the way things are. We can't go back to the way things are. I love you, but I can't do it again. I'm going to be walking on tiptoes if that person comes back. But how many things in your life have you are you sitting there dealing with over and over in your head, and you go, I can't deal with anymore? With what's going on with my husband and his knee, it kills me to see him in pain. I hate it. And I've had to take some of the past couple of days and just put some of the things and put them in the trunk and go to crochet or do something, get my mind off of it. Watch Dallas. I did talk to my sister. She's not my sister, but she's my sister from another mother. Kristen Melinda, and she does not live far from South Fork. And I said to her, if you go, we'll have to figure out how to co-stream so we can take you all on a field trip. So she said she would see about doing that one day. But I have watched Dallas. I've sat there going, if we think we have problems, just go watch Dallas. Because it and it's true, kind of what we were talking about a little bit on the boat the other day, talking about the drama and people coming in and bringing in the drama, right? Yep. I put old friend issues in the trash. I love it. The drama of everything. We're hooked into all that drama. And so you used to live close to South Fork, you know, uh, Chris, it's all that drama. Well, and for me, I decided I tend to do it when I have something like I got one of the blankets done for this 3 blanket crochet projects or crochet thing I was asked to do. So I've got 1 out of 3. So when I have something like that, I go into my thing and I turn on some kind of series. I got done watching like That Girl, and I watch the entire series, and I'll sit and crochet and get involved in something. And I love doing that. And I thought, oh, I've just never seen Dallas. And I've told the story. We had this rocking horse that my grandparents had given me, probably about 8 or 10. It was life-size rocking horse. And I was rocking on it. And I was given it as a gift, and my uncle put it together, and they said, "What are you going to name it?" And just at that point, the theme song for Dallas came on, and I said, "Oh, it's going to be Dallas." I'll take a picture of this rocking horse sometime. And Dallas came on. Now, my grandfather later said to somebody, oh, he told him that it was because it was named after the Dallas Cowboys. I wasn't interested in the show. I didn't pay a bit of attention to it. I just loved the theme song of Dallas. So I just thought, well, you know what? I have these crochet projects to do. Let me just get into something. But I'm watching this whole thing, and it's mild compared to, I think, some of the stuff that they're doing today, but I'm thinking all of this drama, this person is with this person and that person and this person and that person, it's just like, oh my goodness gracious. And I have to see it out. I think I'm in season 6 or something. I've got to watch the entire thing now, but I'm just sitting there watching it, and I'm sitting there going, the person who played JR, which I didn't know was Mary Martin's son. My daughter loves the original Peter Pan with Mary Martin, and I love the theme song too. And he said he loved playing that role. And I said, no wonder, because it was totally opposite of who he really was in life. But I'm watching it and I'm thinking, now I know why everybody despised JR so much, because he was such a crook. But it was all this drama. And sometimes we get wrapped up in other people's drama, or we get wrapped up in stuff of our own drama, and we don't say, is there an escape route out of this? Is there an escape route for our emotional situations that is going on in our life? And that's where the trunk comes in. You have to give yourself permission to say, it is going in the trunk. I can't deal with this today. I can't handle it. I've done that more than once, and I've gone to put it in the trunk, locked it up, gone back a couple days later and go, nope, it ain't happening today. And I've reclosed the trunk again. I had to do that quite a little bit with Patty. After the terminal diagnosis, I had to just say, oh no, can't deal with that. I'm done, tired, because every time I would originally, when it happened, I'd start crying again. I had to do that last year. I have been using the trunk the entire time and never knowing it. But if you're somebody that says, I've got lots of cars and lots of trunks I didn't even know about, I would really, really encourage you, if you can, be able to get some therapy. It is not a shame at all to ask for help. It is a sign of strength, guys. It is a sign of being able to have strength when we can go and deal with situations and circumstances and everything. Because it's extra baggage that we are carrying along with us that we need to say goodbye. Is it going to make our life perfect? No, it's not. But we can say to ourselves, no, we're not dealing with this right now. But at some point, we got to deal with it. We got to open that trunk. And maybe there's nobody around you that is capable of helping you dig through that. It may need a therapist to come in and help deal with going through that trunk and going through it and showing you how to deal with that trunk and then this one and that one. They may have to help you be able to get rid of the trash. I've gotten to the point where I can look at cows in a very different way than I ever was in my life before. I don't attach the name cow to me. I look at it with some kids that were hurting themselves, that picked a name, picked something, they saw it got to me, and they used it because it was the only way they could feel good about themselves. They felt that low. I don't know what was going on in their home life, but it's not this girl. This girl is not a cow. This girl is a human being. And if we can look at certain circumstances and situations from the perspective of that, I can take that whole thing and throw it in the trash and look at it from a very different perspective. Am I going to forget? No, I'm not. Am I willing to forgive? Yes. And forgiveness is a great way to take things and say, oh, we're going to forgive, throw it in the trash. It doesn't mean I forget. And my disco brother, here you go. Here's Floppy for you. Here's Floppy. He gets Floppy. I am so proud of you. I am so, so, so proud of you. I had my first therapy appointment in 30 years this past Monday. Went well. I look forward to returning Monday and see what tools she has equipped for me to utilize. You get the trophy today. That is so awesome. I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. On one of these days, I cannot wait to meet you and your beautiful wife. That is for sure, Jason. And that says a lot, that you've gone back after 30 years. And if you get to the point where you have tools, share them that you can use. You can do this whole thing. Your wife has a YouTube channel. Get on there and tell people if there's things you're finding that are helpful to you, they're going to be helpful to somebody else. I just came across, it'll happen, Mary, someday soon. Absolutely. I just said to myself and think, why would anybody want to listen to me? I don't know a lot. I'm just a girl and no therapist. I'm talking from personal experience. But there are people that have chosen to put on that button and listen. Because I'm telling you things I found are helpful to me. And I thought, you know what? I got to start deciding what I'm going to allow my brain to take up. Is it trash? Going in the trunk. There was things dealing with an autistic individual, and that was Christina, that in a moment when her computer was crashing, that's what I call it when she would have an autistic meltdown, because it's exactly what it was. When her computer was crashing, she would often come up with the most horrible names. And say some really, really hurtful, horrible things. And I had to say, this is her. This is the computer crashing, right? And this is not anything this is not who Christine is. She's having an autistic moment. And I've had to take all of those things, and I don't remember too many of them, and I know who that is. I've had to take a lot of them and throw them in the trash. And there's not a lot of trash piled up when it comes to that. They went right into the trash, and I called the trash man in my head and said, come get it. Because I knew they weren't her. Her computer was crashing. And as a mother of an autistic individual, I had to be understanding and I had to be loving. And I will forgive her over and over and over again. But that other person that has chosen to decide that they don't want us in their life anymore, I'll forgive you. I'm not going to forget. But if you come back in my life, do not expect the relationship to ever return to what it was. My daughter always will get it. She has her moments still. They've gotten a lot better, but she still has her moments. I forgive her and I forget. I guess that's motherly love coming a long way. But Mary, you have life experience that we relate to. You very much loved by many, many of us. Well, I love you too, Jason, tremendously. And I appreciate that. But I've had to sit there and say, okay, it's not going to be the same. So what are the things I'm going to hold on to? And what are the things I'm going to decide to put in the trash? Because it's time to call up the tow truck and tow this car out of my lot. See, that's why I think it's really important that you don't just have one trunk. You have several cars with several trunks. And you have one specifically. So when you're done with that trunk or that person in your life, for whatever reason, people sometimes come in for a season, you have permission to say, yep, that trunk, no, that's out. That car, I'm going to call the tow truck and get it out of my lot. It's taking up space in my head. We can't control people. We can't control what they say or what they do. We can only control ourselves. And I know as a fibromyalgia patient, I have to have my fleet of cars with the trunk because I got to have them. Because when things get too much, man, I got to open that trunk and say, nope, not today. Not today. It is so important that I not utilize that. And I have to allow it to, or I'm going to be hurting. I'm going to be hurting. And sometimes I can't help it. Sometimes there are situations and circumstances and stressors that happen. I'm going through another one that I'm not going to talk about, but going through another one. And, I've just had to repeatedly put that one kind of in the trunk. I'll eventually, hopefully it'll resolve itself. But that situation just has to kind of stay in the trunk for a while. And that, and I think too, if you're coming from a Christian perspective, guys, sometimes we need to pray over what's in the trunk. Sometimes we forget the power of prayer and allowing God to take what mess is in their trunk and dealing with it the way He has the best way. The best way is to let Him deal with it. Sometimes we forget the power of prayer. little things happen and we just forget about it. It may not be resolved the way you want it to be resolved, but God will resolve it the way He needs for it to be resolved so that He gets the glory, not you. See, at the end of this thing, if it ever does happen that this relationship that for now is lost heals itself, I want God to get the glory for it. Not me. I haven't done anything. I want Him to get the glory. We forget to pray for our enemies, the people that sometimes we don't, the people that how can you pray for that person? Yeah, we need to, because they need Jesus just as much as we do. I live by these words. Actions are why words mean nothing. But I love unconditional until I hurt or betray. No coming back once that point is reached. Yeah. And another thing that we will discuss and that we'll put up is love languages, because yes, Jason, I agree with that. But for me, my love language is words. So as you can understand that, you can understand why when a little kid would call me cow, or somebody comes and hits me words wise, it really, or my daughter would have a moment and things were coming out of her mouth I know she didn't mean. It just, when I go ahead and stick a knife right there, because that's exactly where it's going. And so that was really hard, right? That was really hard. And for me, words are absolutely 100% so difficult for me to deal with. When people come out with words, words can be very difficult for me to be able to deal with. So I think that yes, that's true. But I think we also need to help to understand somebody's love language, because somebody's love language could be gifts or it could be time. And I think it's really important, even as not just as a romantic relationship, but a child to parent relationship, as well as a friend to friend relationship. I think it's very important. It is why I love our community, amazing community. Sincere and honest. It is like nothing I've ever seen on this level. Absolutely. But I think if we understand, right, we understand everybody's love language, what does that come down back to? Time. Time. You have to spend time with somebody. And this goes back to what we are going to allow in the trunk or the trash. If somebody hasn't put in the time with you, then they should not be able to hold anything. And if they come up and say, oh, this or this about you, those comments belong in the trash, because you don't know me enough. Sometimes we give people too much power for here. And I think that to me, my trunk has been a source of a little bit of security for me, for my own mental well-being. Is I go, okay, this has got to go in the trunk. And then I go focus on something else. A lot of times it's crochet. It's going in the trunk. But now I'm moving it. Does it belong in the trunk, or does it belong in the trash? Or what needs to come out of the trunk that I can keep that's good, and what needs to go in the trash that is bad? That's just junk. And then when I put it in the trash, am I going to leave it in there until it starts smelling? Or I'm going to take it and put it in the trash bag and call the trash man in my head and say, come get it. It's gone. How long am I going to leave it here? Hi, OJ. How are you? Well, thanks for lurking. I appreciate it. Right? It's like yesterday, I was really tired with everything with Josh. It's caught up with me. And I just kind of took a day off yesterday. I wasn't on social media too much yesterday. I had some stuff I needed to do for the cookie connection. And I thought, you know what? I needed to get this blanket done. I got 1 out of 3. And I really, really need to get these others done because we've got the craft show coming up in November. And I thought, I got to get this done. So I literally focused on it. And um, I got to start working on the cookies thing. But if you have a cookie recipe, get it over to me. And, I can refer people back to that video, but I do want to get the rules and everything, and I will get it done this weekend. And I've got to get the other blanket done for the thing that has to go out. That has to go out this month. And so there's just a lot of things. I've got to sit down with my mother, and I've got to show her a little bit more on Canva and everything. But I realize that self-care is so important. I needed to decompress on some things. And sometimes it doesn't even have to necessarily be that we are putting things in the trunk that are emotional. Sometimes we just need to go, you know what? All this needs to go. I can't deal with this. I couldn't. I was too tired. I didn't have the mental capacity. I know it needs to get done. I know what has to get done. Done. You're going in the trunk. And I'll deal with you tomorrow, or maybe Saturday. And it's looking more like Saturday because I fell asleep about 3 o'clock in the morning. Josh's phone was going off with his insulin running low about 5:30. It took me a while to get him up. And then I could not fall asleep, and we had to be up at 8:30 this morning to go to, I had a nap before I came on live. It was 8:30 this morning, and we went. He's entitled to diabetic shoes. So I said to him, let's go get some diabetic shoes. Well, he had a pair a couple years ago, and it was a very hard foamy insert that was in there, and it actually put a blister on his foot. And he was not sized properly for the shoe at all. And so I said to him, we need to go get you check this out again. And so they had an appointment this morning, and he got a nice pair of diabetic shoes. They're on order. They did a foot impression and so forth. And then our YMCA has a jacuzzi. So I had him go to the jacuzzi and just soak his knee for a while, which helped a little bit, but in his body and everything. So it felt so good to be in there, but his knee is really still hurting him. But I'm tired. I think I could go back and take another nap. I'm tired. And so when we're tired or we're dealing with a chronic illness as fibromyalgia or whatever you're dealing with, sometimes we have to put things that we would love to be able to get done today and put them in the trunk and say, no, we've got to self-care for ourselves. And that's what I did yesterday. I wasn't on much. I was too focused on getting something done, and I got it done. And I have to take that blanket that involves a lot of knotting all the way up the side. I got to take that out of the trunk, and I got to start back working on it again. I'd love to be able to just leave it in the trunk and do it, but no, it's got to get out in the mail this month. And so I've got to get it out. I can't keep procrastinating on it, but I think sometimes we need to have a trunk. And when things can be put on hold or wait, then we need to put them in there. But then we also need to unlock them and get them done. And then here's another important part, guys. We need to ask for help. I know, and my mother has said to me, send me more things I can do to help. I can see what this channel is doing, not only for you. It's a pleasure for me to help. It's going to help me as well, because any of the monetization goes to her. And she said, I can just see it being such a help. And so she said, I just start sending me over things that, I can help with. I want to help with more. And thank God I was at the store today and I forgot to get something to go tomorrow. And so it's important to be able to reach out for help and say, I can't do all this by myself. I need help to get it done. It is so important. There are certain things she can't do, but there's a lot of things she can do. And be willing to learn and ask for help. So I hope this kind of helped today. I really do. I hope it helped to give you an ability to understand the trunk, but not only have the trunk, but you need to have the trash too, right? Need to have the trash. Now, talk amongst yourselves for just a second, and I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm back for a second. All right. Now, with that being said, I hope that helped. I hope people start using their trunks and their trash and give yourself the permission to do either one. You don't have to hold on to it. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, we're going to be doing a special live. It starts at 7:30. I will try very hard. It probably won't be today. Like I said, I'm tired. Tired. To get Amazon wish list done of things that we can do, because I think that's probably the best way to do this. But I don't know how many of you have all been to Hobby Lobby or seen this. We did this from our church, but the Samaritan's Purse Christmas Operation Christmas Child. Okay, so we are going to fill at least this box. I'd love to be in the position where we can fill more than one. Okay. I have to find out drop-off locations, and I'm working to find that. I did call one, and I'm going to go back to Hobby Lobby because I have to go get a gift card for the semifinalists for the Fall Fest. And I will scan the little thing telling me where I can go drop it off. But anyway, these in itself, it costs $10 just to help with shipping, and the box was $3.99. But I will go ahead and do a wish list things to put in the boxes, crowns, maybe some socks, some hairbrushes, some coloring books, notebooks, whatever. If you would like to send some things to put in it, I will have a list of things that we can put in here. You can mail it to us to our P.O. Box address. I'd like to at least try to fill out one. So any super chats that come in tomorrow, any memberships that come in tomorrow, any of those will go to at least fill this box. My hope is by doing this and we can track the box, find out where it went to, what country it went to, or what have you. My hope for this is that we can fill that this year maybe we can fill 1 or 2 boxes, and the next year we can fill 2 or 4 boxes, and the following year we can fill 7 or 8 boxes. And well, thank you, Shauna B, for becoming a new member of the Disco Ball group. That means that, and we do have our memberships. So thank you for becoming a member. You look good in green, that's for sure. The Disco Ball membership allows you to get videos early before anybody else. The thank you very much membership, that one only just as a way of supporting the channel, and that's 99 cents one, but the $2.99 means you get memberships early. So thank you so much. So we're going to be doing this tomorrow. If you understood what this was about. This was so that we can fill this. We're going to try to fill at least one box. We can maybe fill more than one this year. And then I will start counting as this channel grows. Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be awesome to be able to say next year, gosh, this year we filled 2 or 3, and next year we filled 6, and the next year we filled 10 boxes for kids that they get to open this box with necessities. I mean, I don't think we realize how much a kid that maybe is really in just another country that's just um, you know you know doesn't have all the basic things, how opening a box. All right, well, thank you, Jason P, for being here. Opening up the box and seeing crowns and guys, I say crowns, I always have all my life. Hi Misha, how are you, hun? I am praying for you, sweetheart. um you know crowns and crayons and you know um a hairbrush or socks or whatever, all those things would mean to a child getting one of these boxes. That for Christmas morning, for that, I can tell you as a mama, those boxes are life changing. Absolutely. And I love that. Um, that these, that, that opening this box for a kid, seeing all that stuff in there, they're not, it's not, they get little things in there that means the world to them, so I will put a slide thing together of all the things that we can include. You can mail things to Blessed to Crochet. This starts now. This will start tomorrow. We turn it in November 18th through the 24th of November. So then we'll drop it off. I will do a wish list on Amazon. So anybody wants to do the wish list through Amazon, any memberships tomorrow, I will go ahead and include this one from today too as well. Any memberships or super chats or anything will go towards filling at least this box. Like I said, this one costs $3.99, and then I think to send it you have to send $10. But we'll make it work. We'll make it happen, guys. I have great faith in our community. And then as we grow, right? As we grow, I think I can even go on to Samaritan's Purse and get boxes and, rather than going to Hobby Lobby and be able to fill it. So I can't do it this year, but I will look into for sure next year. And then what we will do too is we will start, I'll start a wish list. I have one for us and, as this channel. Sending you a link as we spoke for cheaper shipping. Okay. I will start a wish list that throughout the year, if people want to send things from that wish list that would go into these boxes, then we can do that. I'm probably going to go pick up one more, and then that way I'll have the box, and then I can show it off to people throughout the year, and then we'll just have a wish list, right? We'll have a wish list that we'll have up all year long. Anybody that wants to order something for that wish list and send it in, it will go towards the boxes, and then it will be awesome as we grow. Hi Gail, how are you? As we grow, we can as we grow, we can fill more and more of these boxes. And I will, Gail, be putting my video out today. I'm going to record it and pick the winner, record it, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do a premiere on it or not. I don't know yet. But I will put at least the video out today around 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. I will be putting out the video today, and of who won our Fall Fest, and I will get that over. Like I said in the video, there's going to be one winner who won the semifinalist, and then there'll be a backup. So if you do not reach out to me by Sunday, then the other person will have the chance at it. So that will happen later today. So be looking out for that video. Then tomorrow, I'm hoping to get up Saturday Reflections. And then we'll do this tomorrow at 7. We'll talk a little bit about this, and maybe just have a chit chat. Maybe I'll put it out there if anybody wants to come up or what have you. And then I'll have our stream do a reflection over to Alfonso's channel tomorrow. So it'll direct right over to that after we're done. So I think I have it scheduled for 7:30 And I did because I'll probably have to end about 9:20 so I can get over to Alfonso's. And I just figured we're going to just talk about, I think with the storms that happened and everything, all those things that happened with the storms and everything, I really think that sometimes we take the most littlest things for granted. I think sometimes we don't realize how blessed we really are to just have a roof over our head and, food in our stomach and little things that go on in life. I think we forget about, how grateful we truly need to be in everything that has been given to us. And so, again, we'll be certainly giving back. That's what the cookie connection will hopefully be. Is we've gotten like Gail's recipe. I've gotten some other recipes, and hopefully be in a position to be able to eventually give back and be able to turn that cookbook into something that we can not only maybe be able to donate that to Broken Hearts Ministry. That's what I would love to do. Keep it within the YouTube community, and then be able to then turn around and be able to give some to the Gary Sinise Foundation. And the cookie connection will always be in my dad's memory. We're going to do this one, I think, in honor of my grandmother, Nan. And I think that's what I'll kind of do a little bit. It's a little bit of her story tomorrow. She grew up in Scotland during the war, and she loved little kids. She always gave to the hospital with, Merlin Thomas. I can't remember. Danny Thomas. I can't remember what the hospital was. St. Jude. Oh, I think it's St. Jude. She always gave to that one. She loved little kids. She hated to see them hurt. And so when we do this, it'll be honor in memory of my grandmother, Annie, for sure. So and so while we have everybody on, I'm going to welcome our newest member. And also those members, whether you are, we appreciate you all, whether you're our, thank you very much, or Blessed Disco Ball membership, whatever you are, we do appreciate, or whether you can't be a member at this time, we understand totally. But here's just a little song for you that we do at the end, just to say thank you for all the members that just help to support this channel and its growth.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I had to throw a little Elvis in there, right? And just remember, a disco ball is hundreds of broken pieces of glass put together to make a magical ball of light. You aren't broken, you're a disco ball. So we are so thankful again for everyone, our mods. I am so grateful to all of them. They're just awesome. They're rock stars, 110%. And Shauna B, which is our newest member, the disco ball, you really helped the channel. Now, next Saturday, we're going to do YouTube chatter, and that is going to be to make sure that we tell our journey. I don't want to forget where we've come from as we grow on this channel. I want to be able to document that. And so I'm going to really encourage you, whether you're a YouTube content creator or not, to come in and watch that. Because I think that since we have started this channel, I look at YouTube very differently than I did before I got behind the camera. Extremely differently. And sometimes I think if we can understand that, we can really understand how to help a channel. What you can do if you can't become a member of a channel, but you really want to help them, there are ways you can assist. There's ways you can help their growth, and they will appreciate it tremendously. Our people that come in on the replay crew, you guys are rock stars, People that play our playlists and everything, you guys are rock stars. We're only 106 hours away from, excuse me, 106 hours away from hitting 4,000. And you guys just are just awesome. And that all came back from you all. It's nothing we can do. It all has to come from the people in the community that we support. And it's not just numbers. It's all about connections, guys. It's all about connections. And so, it just is a way for us to tell our journey, to document our journey, and be able to hopefully um, just give you a little bit of an insight, a little bit coming from it. And then we won't forget, successes and mistakes and things we learned and things we wish we had done differently at the beginning and all that kind of stuff, which I think is a great thing to go back and reflect on things that we can do better. And if I could go back, I certainly would. So I thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you'll join us tomorrow at 7:30 as we're going to try to fill the box. That's what the thumbnail's all. We're going to fill the shoebox, and I will start a wish list so that that's up and running tomorrow, and we will just keep that ongoing throughout the thing. We do have a wish list for the channel. There's some stuff on there for Mocha too as well. But we'll do a wish list specifically for this, and we'll just keep that all year, and we'll start gathering things. And then next year it'll be we filled 2 or 3 boxes. And maybe then I could order the boxes directly from, I think I can, from Samaritan's Purse, and I'll be more in the game next year, and I can do that and everything. So that'll be awesome if I can do that. And then get connected to find out where I can drop them off. So we'll make this happen. It's all about giving back, guys. All about giving back. So I'm going to say goodbye for right now. I'm going to get that video done for the Fall Fest giveaway. You still have a little bit more time to enter. I'm not going to give you all. I'll draw at 5. I'll draw at 5:30, and I'll record the drawing. Then I'll put the video together, and I will upload the video sometime between 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. So be on the lookout if you haven't had an opportunity. And I will put the video in here one last time in case you haven't had an opportunity to enter into Fall Fest. You can go over and enter in. There's channels that have already enter or drawn for their semifinalists, but if you haven't, you go watch the video. And hi, Be Amazing Silver, how are you? You can go and enter, and I've put the video in there. You can go watch it, enter. I will probably be drawing in the next hour and a half, and I will be uploading somewhere between about 6 or 8, between 6 and 8 o'clock tonight. I will put up the video of who won. And like I said, we're going to do one drawing, one person, the main person. If that person doesn't reach out, then the second place person will be up for the thing, right? So I'll put that all in the video. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for being the best part in the replay crew. It's so appreciative. So appreciative. Remember, guys, you got to stay connected. It truly becomes so helpful. Hi, Miss Dawn. How are you? It becomes so important to be able to have that and be able to, connect with each other. It makes a huge impression to be able to do that and help have those connections and have those supports as we're going through this thing we call life. Thank you so much for staying connected. Thank you so much for staying connected, and also for, having us covered. We have you covered, as Scott sings at the very beginning, always our intro, right? We'll feel better. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm just really tired. I didn't sleep the greatest last night, and my husband's knee has been just, I've had to be a little bit more on the caretaking, which drains me, and so I'm tired, but I'm gonna go rest. I'm gonna go rest. I'm not doing a lot today, but join us tomorrow too, guys. If you just hopped in, we are filling this box tomorrow. If you haven't heard of Samaritan's Purse, I hope to be able to increase the amount of boxes we fill every year the channel is in existence. So we're gonna try for one. Great if we can do two, but come tomorrow and listen to the details about that. So thank you all for joining us. We got you covered. Thank you so much for having us covered. We appreciate it. And remember, and I've got a kind of an idea in my head about the shirt because I want to get merch on it. Be proud of being yourself, because remember, everyone else is taken, guys. You guys are awesome, and you're amazing disco balls. Thank you so much for all our members and this channel. And if you're able to watch any of our playlists, we would greatly appreciate it. We're only like 100 hours out from being fully monetized, and that would be a huge help to us. And we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. So I will see y'all tomorrow night, and look out for the video for the semifinals drawing. We'll be getting that up and running shortly. And if you haven't entered, you got just about an hour to go enter on that video before we draw. All right, have a great day, everybody. And remember, be proud of being yourself, because everybody else is taken. Have a great night. God bless. Love y'all.
So proud